So the National Women's Studies Association gave out a book prize this month to this Rutgers University professor, Jasbir K. Puar, for her book entitled The Right to Maim. Who has the right to maim? Well, Israelis have the right to maim Palestinians, at least according to Professor Puar. Let's take a look. Rutgers professor Jasbir Puar may look pretty, but she has a pretty ugly ideology. According to her faculty page, her research interests are apparently critical ethnic studies, cultural studies, feminist globalization studies, immigration and diasporas, queer studies, and sexuality studies. You know, a pretty good way to test whether an academic field is complete BS or not is just to look at whether that field ends with studies. Anyways, let's take a look at this award-winning book of Puar's, The Right to Maim, Debility, Capacity, Disability. Drawing on a stunning array of theoretical and methodological frameworks, Puar uses the concept of debility, bodily injury and social exclusion brought on by economic and political factors, to disrupt the category of disability. So by this point, if you have experience with the hive mind that is social justice, you might be starting to see what's going to happen. Remember those victimhood categories? Race, gender, sexuality? Well, disability is also one of them, and we've now apparently reached the stage where, to create empathy for Palestinians, we're actually redefining the concept of disabled to include not just actual disability, but also whatever we choose as your progressive overlords to categorize as economic or social oppression. Puar's analysis culminates in an interrogation of Israel's policies toward Palestine. What's Palestine? You say that almost as if it's a separate country or something. In which she outlines how Israel brings Palestinians into biopolitical being by designating them available for injury. Supplementing its right to kill with what Puar calls the right to maim, the Israeli state relies on liberal frameworks of disability to obscure and enable the mass debilitation of Palestinian bodies. Wow, that's a lot of pseudo-intellectual drivel, or what George Orwell would call duck speak. Anyway, I wonder if this award-winning book of Puar's includes anything about, let's say the fact that at least 50 out of the 62 Palestinians killed by Israel during the moving of the US Embassy to Jerusalem were, indeed, Hamas or Islamic Jihad terrorists. And speaking of Palestinian terrorism, what about the Avivim school bus massacre or the Dolphinarium discotheque suicide bombing? Do any of those deaths or injuries of Israeli children fit under your definition of disability, Professor Puar? For Campus Unmasked, I'm Rob Shimshock. If you like this video and support our mission, please make sure to comment and subscribe. If something happens on your campus and you'd like us to investigate, send us details using the form on campusunmasked.com.